In this video we'll be seeing how time has affected this largely original 33-year-old StumpJumper. That means I'll be taking it apart. So let's have a quick look around this bike. So to put it in context, this bike was released about the same time as the original Nintendo Game Boy. Night lights at the time this bike came out were a motorbike battery with a halogen bulb on the handlebars, gigantic. You used to have to put on some extra mounts on your bike to hold a light. It was 8 years before V-brakes were released by Shimano, so this is a pretty old bike. Having a look at it, the Biopace chain set looks relatively okay. The chain is absolutely destroyed. There's a reasonable amount of corrosion on the bike. Looks like it's been left outside for some of its third of a century. The saddle definitely needs a recover or replacement. Tyres are falling to pieces, literally, like bits of them are falling off. Probably not original, but there's original rims by the looks of it. Jeez, look at that brake cable. Get some focus on that. That's a strange looking brake cable. It's gigantic and weird. Maybe it's just stretched or corroded and puffed out or something, but yeah, it looks odd. Even right down to still having the plastic disc on the rear wheel. This is a pretty original bike. So let's take it apart and see what kind of nick it's in. Oh, there's a potentially replaced bottom bracket. That's nice to see. Either that or it's just cleaned up a little bit. But yeah, we'll find out in a second. So it's time for me to start tearing this apart. First of all though, I thought I'd compare it to a 1986 or 4, can't remember which, Miata Ridge Runner that I've got, just so you can have a look at the angles on this. This is actually, when you look at it, it's got a pretty slack head angle, real long top tube. The head angle on this old Stumpy is quite slack as well. It's almost like they knew what they were doing back then. Anyway, let's get started. Oof. Even the quick releases are stuck. I already had a quick check of the seat post to see how stuck that was. It is very, very stuck. So I've chucked some WD-40 down there, or some CRC 446, same sort of thing. Wheel off. Even the barrel adjusters on the brakes are seized solid. That's enough attempts with the wrong tool. Ah, here's something unusual. I never knew it had that. Look at that. The front brake goes into the stem within the outer and then pops out. Maybe that's why it's got this big, really crazy, chunky looking cable on it. I guess no one wanted to take it out again. Probably because they didn't want to spend a huge amount of time putting it back in, which is exactly what I'm going to do. If I can get it out. To save my sanity actually, I think what I'll do is I'll leave that cable in and I'll use the cable to pull the new cable in. This is coming off nice and easy. Did I speak too soon? Oh yes! Another bolt that comes undone. Take a look at that stem. It's hardly even rusty at all inside. Yeah, look at these handlebars. Look at the corrosion on the underside of these shifters and stuff. They're pretty. Yeah, this is going to take a bit of work to tidy up. It's not a 5-minute job here. To be honest, that could have been a lot worse. This headset is maybe even serviceable. Although I'll probably say that too soon. Let's knock the cups out. Just tap them out, it'll be easy. Easy. Let's listen now. This thing is not desperate to come out. Here we go. Probably original headset. So that headset looks a little bit worse for wear. I might be able to grease up the ball bearings, give the whole thing a polish and see if it goes back together, but we'll see that soon. As I said, seat post is super stuck. Let's pull off this cool little bottle cage. So it looks to me like this this bottle cage on here has in the past been some sort of crazy coloured one. And it's certainly the right kind of an era. It's like a old aluminium roadie type bottle cage. So maybe that'd be nice painted up. Taking a bottle cage off, probably not the most exciting thing in the universe. But there's what it was anyway. Oh, it's just next to that kind of pink light, so kind of shows, but it's a ready bottle cage that may have been changed colour over the years. I think you can move back over here. So we'll break the chain. I think we'll use the chain breaker with the long bar on it today because this chain looks terrible. Not too hard to push these pins out, that's good. Take a look at how rusty and horrible this old chain is. Yuck. This one for the bin. And everything on this bike is stuck. Everything. Even things like that. One interesting thing about these old little Diore rear mechs to me is that instead of having a bolt that holds on the cable, there's a little nut, and the nut goes onto a threaded piece that's actually part of the derailleur. Opposite way around from modern. I should just be snipping the cables, there's absolutely no chance I'm keeping them. Quite a little picture of how the cables run underneath the BB. You can really see the rust on the frame here and the corrosion on the crank arms. I wonder what I'll do with these little toe clips. Never ridden in toe clips, probably because it's a stupid idea, but maybe I'll have a go. I still haven't 100% decided what to turn this bike into once it's fixed. I think what I'm going to do is just restore it and use as many parts as I possibly can, but spice it up a little bit with some cool colours. But there's also opportunities and there's also options for gravel bikes and all that other kind of stuff. I think I've got enough of them though. So comment below if you want to see something strange with this bike. Quite a funny story about this little Allen key. This came with my Schwinn Supermatic in about 1995, 96, something like that, and I've been using it ever since. It's really, really handy. It's probably the tool I use the most in the world. So, the time has come to remove these Biopace cranks. Possibly for the first time in generations. And this little cover. Is this reverse thread to it? Or is this just so seized it's unbelievable? My goodness. Everything on this bike is stuck. That reminds me, I wonder where my funny socket thing for these old bottom brackets is. Balls. So what do we think? Will this turn? Yes. Just cut all the cables, Mark. Interestingly enough, when you spin this, you can really see how oval the old biopaste chainrings are. Quite cool. Maybe I'll have a go at these threads. Hopefully, if we're lucky, this will start to pull off the crank arm. I'm semi-worried that I'm going to strip the threads off the crank. Here we go. When you're unlucky, the crank puller strips the threads off the crank before the crank comes loose. But on this time, on this occasion, it looks like we've been lucky. Wow, it looks like it's worked as it's supposed to. It shouldn't be as much of a surprise as it is. Oops. There we go. This crank does not look like it's been off for quite some time. Off we come. Brilliant. Man, this is quite light, this biopaste crankset. It's incredibly light actually. I was expecting this to feel like it had some sort of girth, that's not really the same. I was expecting it to feel like it had some sort of heft to it, that was the word. Yeah, you can see how oval these are. Hopefully the spindle hole doesn't have much of an oval shape to it either. Yeah, these are nice cranks. I'm glad I've got these. Just need a good polish up, I think. Now, as for this bottom bracket, it feels terrible. I can't do my usual trick to see which side is reverse thread and which side is normal thread because I haven't got any spread frames lying around. I usually have at least one just sitting nearby, but everything's got a bottom bracket in it this time. So I have to go for this one being reverse thread, which is lucky because it is. I should just trust my instinct. No, I shouldn't trust my instincts. put all kinds of stuff if I trust my instincts. See what falls out when I open this. Take a look at this bearing cage. It's a bit of an unusual, mashed up kind of a shape. Weird. Crazy little bellow thing in here. Here's a quick rundown of what we need to replace on this bike. Bottom bracket. This is in a pretty poor shape. I've measured it and it's a 68mm bottom bracket and 122mm spindle. So I need a 68 times 122 bottom bracket. Any of them should fit as long as I can thread it into the frame and it'll work fine. The rear derailleur looks fine. The brakes are going to be polished up. The front derailleur looks fine. I'm going to have to sort that out. I'm going to try tight cleaning up the headset, but almost certainly I'm going to have to replace the headset. It's going to need new cables. These levers and shifters are going to be tidied up and I think I'll get them all working fine. I'll need some new grips. This stem is a 50-50 as to whether I'm going to be able to keep it and use it, but I think it's going to be okay. I'll try these pedals, but I've got some other ones that I can slide on if I need to. And obviously I'm going to have to recover this seat or replace it. So quick rundown of the bike, what it needs replaced, and it's not actually all that bad. Oh, obviously need a chain too. So there's the quick list of things that we need. It's a threaded 1 1/8" headset that I'm going to have to grab. And it's a threaded headset because the forks are threaded. Basically, if you've got a non-threaded set of forks, you can run any sort of A headset in these tubes. So this has got the same size of head tube as, for example, this GT Tequesta. You can press fit sort of normal A headset, but you can't run that with the threaded forks very easily. The other thing I'm obviously going to need to do, these hubs are absolutely horrible feeling, they're gritty and terrible, so I'm going to pull these apart and try and get them working again, otherwise I might need new hubs, or at least new bearings for the hubs. Cassette seems okay. The rim, I'm going to need new tyres. These tyres are completely destroyed. Luckily I've got a set of nice tyres for them. Not quite period specific tyres, but as close as I can possibly get to it in a new set of tyres. I might replace these quick releases just because they're in such terrible nick. Other than that, we seem to be all good. The rims haven't even been worn away. Normally your brakes wear the braking surface of the rim away and it ends up with a big concave bit and then snaps off, but these ones are actually relatively good and the wheels seem quite true. So wheel set's okay, tyres are terrible, hubs probably need a rebuild, and worst case I'm going to have to lace up some new ones. But yeah, not as bad as it could be, especially for being 33 odd years old. Other than that, thanks for watching me taking it apart. I've got some nice parts on order. I'm going to try and mix the colours up a bit, so it'll be pretty cool. Thanks for watching, subscribe if you want to see the next bit. Bye!